ഈ കോവിഡ് കാലത്ത് രോഗങ്ങൾ അകറ്റൂ, ആരോഗ്യം സംരക്ഷിക്കൂ. ടിയാറ SS വാട്ടർ ടാങ്ക്സ്. ലീവ് അപ് യുവർ ക്ലാസ്.
When is Empuraan happening?
The script is written. By first quarter, I want to go on floors with the shoot.
It's a 100 crore project.
It is not just about how much money you are making by doing this. It is about you spreading awareness about your work. That is not my style of filmmaking. My style of filmmaking is going on set with a short division and then getting my shots. Even to Mohanlal sir, he to me is like an elder brother, so he knows me. So even to him, I'll go and say, "Chara, I know that, this and all," and he'll oblige.
You act in a film with DQ and Fahad and all that.
I would love to. I mean, we meet each other very often. All three of us are friends. All three of us would love to be in a film together.
You should be very excited when you're talking as a director. It's something from your father.
It is just that when you direct a film, the responsibility is so much more. You walk into a set, there are about 300 people waiting for you to say what first to get into action. I enjoy that responsibility.
Stars from other language also would be featured. Your Empuraan.
I don't do that. I know I've never done that. To me, people like Anjali Menon have mastered. When I was doing Kude, Anjali told me, "Can you float in water?" Floating, I don't know, I haven't tried maybe. It's very difficult for me to float. And Anjali told me, you know why? Because floating on water is about letting go of all control. I don't think you're able to do it. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so she was very right.
Will you act in a film with DQ and Fahad and all that?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. I mean, if a script comes along where all of us think that this, we should be doing this together, I would love to. I mean, we meet each other very often. Yeah. So all three of us are friends. All three of us would love to be in a film together.
You and Mr. Mohanlal have got such a, great relationship going.
We do.
Two big heroes.
Yeah.
When is Empuraan happening?
I will start shooting in the first quarter of 2022. When I'm going to release the film is something that I cannot commit to right now because it requires a lot of work. It is, again, I mean, I completely, as a filmmaker, I'm aware of what I'm taking on. When I did Lucifer, I had the liberty of people not knowing what I'm coming up with, or people not having any idea of me as a filmmaker. But now I have Lucifer to deal with, don't I? When I do the second part.
No, but a lot of people tell me that as a director, you have shined really well. As a, you bring elements of the commercial cinema.
Yeah, I've only done 2 films, so I still think it's way too early to be, looking at me like a great filmmaker or anything. I'm a constantly learning filmmaker. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to do Bro Daddy is for me to learn. Because as a filmmaker, I am somebody who enjoys absolute control over everything. If you speak to somebody who's worked in Lucifer, they'll tell you he's borderline. I'm borderline obsessive about what I want my actors to do.
You're a perfectionist.
No, it's not about perfection. It's about me seeing something and then me wanting everybody to give me that. And I don't know if that's the. So I've spoken to Dileesh Pothan about this, and he has a method that is entirely different to this. And I think that method that Dileesh adopts needs a lot of confidence on what you're doing. I don't have that because I need what I've seen, I want to recreate. So I will go to my actors and say, no. When you say that, don't look down. When you say this dialogue, don't turn away. I'll say all that. Even to Mohanlal sir, he to me is like an elder brother, so he knows me. So even to him, I'll go and say, Chara, I know that, this and all, and he'll oblige. Why I did Bro Daddy is, I realized that if I do this film, which is like a comic caper, I can't do that film my way. When you're dealing with comedy, you can't go and tell an actor, this is how I want you to react. You would much rather say, this is the situation, you have read the scene, go, do. And then I let the actors perform, and then I'm thinking, okay, what he did right there, maybe I want a more compact shot on that. That is not my style of filmmaking. My style of filmmaking is going on set with a short division and then getting my shots. So Bro Daddy to me was a huge learning experience. So I'm sure every film I'll discover something new. Empuraan is a sequel to Lucifer. Like everyone knows, it is the second part of a 3-part series. Lucifer will have a 3rd part. It is more than the film being bigger, which it is. I think Empuraan will sort of.
I'm told it's a 100 crore project.
I never commit to budgets. I tell all my producers, I tell Anthony, I've told Hombale that before we go on flow with the pre-production, my narration will be like an 8-hour long ordeal. I will sit down, make my producers and my technicians and everybody sit down, and I'll tell them everything. I'll tell them shot by shot, for this shot I want this equipment. I'll say all that. Budgeting is their responsibility. You know, the producers need to give me what I want in the most efficient budget. I'm not a believer in spending money that is not shown on screen. I think, you know, as a filmmaker, I should work to make sure that 10 rupees spent seems like 25 rupees on screen. So I'm not somebody who commits to budget. So I don't know what the budget of Empuraan is. But it'll be a big film. It'll be a big film, and it'll be a
pan-India film?
See, that's the thing, right? I mean, going ahead, I think that term will cease to exist. Because going ahead, I think every major film from every industry.
That's why you went for Kadua promotion.
Exactly. I think, so like I said yesterday, don't look at this as something I'm doing for Kadua. It is something that I'm doing for the rest of my career, the beginning of a new phase. And not just my career, I think this is how now the future is going to be. I think every big film from every industry, be it Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, any industry, will now, you know, want to have legitimate dubbed versions of their films, and they'll want to promote it in every city. And it is not just about how much money you are making by doing this. It is about you spreading awareness about your work. You know, saying that this is, you know, we have created this, please come and watch it. Maybe this awareness will only translate to more OTT views for the film. Even that is fine. You know, even that means that your work is being watched. But I think this is going to be the new norm going ahead.
So obviously, stars from other language also will be featured in this film.
In which film?
Your Empuraan.
I am not going to sit down and cast in a fashion where I think, okay, now I've got one from Tamil, now I need one from... I don't do that. I know I've never done that. To me, I am going to cast anybody who I think is suitable for the character. And I say I'm going to cast, I'm going to offer the role to the person who I think is the most suitable. Again, for Empuraan, sorry, for Lucifer, I've not had to deal with thinking of a second choice, because everybody that I went to the first time around said yes to me. You know, might not be the case for Empuraan. You know, so then that is another learning process for me. Now I have already seen people in each character for Empuraan. What happens is one of them says, "I don't want to do this." Oh, okay. Then I have to rethink. You know, so that's going to be another learning experience for me.
You seem to be very excited when you're talking as a director. It's something from your father, Mr. Sukumaran, you took it up, because you're very excited when you talked about direction.
I am equally excited about acting in a film. You know, it is just that when you direct a film, the responsibility is so much more. And when you direct a film, what you realize is that
you seem to be enjoying the process.
Yeah, the responsibility of the decision making is solely yours. You walk into a set every day morning at 8 a.m. There are about 300 people waiting for you to say what first to get into action. And that's a huge responsibility. There is a lot of effort, time, money, everything riding on you picking up that mic and saying, right, let's do this. You know, I enjoy that responsibility. I enjoy that responsibility. I enjoy that sense of control. That is something I need to unlearn, you know. Yeah, I know after having done just 2 films that filmmaking is not about exercising complete control. I know that, I'm aware of it, but I enjoy that sense of control, and sometimes I'm very uncomfortable when I have to lose control of one aspect, which is something people like Anjali Menon have mastered, you know. And Anjali has spotted it in me like a T. Like when I was doing Kude, Anjali told me, "Can you float in water?" So I said, "No, I can swim. I'm a certified diver. Floating, I don't know. I haven't tried. Maybe." So she said, "Try." You know, it's very difficult for me to float. And Anjali told me, "You know why? Because floating on water is about letting go of all control. I don't think you're able to do it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So she was very right, actually. Yeah.
One is that Empuraan will happen next year.
Yeah.
Because a lot of fans, you know, I've got a lot of questions asking.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm flattered and I appreciate the curiosity and the expectation on Empuraan. I would have made that film long back if not for the pandemic. It is really not a film that I can even think of mounting in the midst of a pandemic. But now that the world...
By January,
rather than saying that the pandemic is over, I would rather like to say that the world has learned to deal with the pandemic. I think I can start thinking of going on floors with Empuraan. And even designing the shoot on where to shoot the film and how to shoot the film will need a few months' time, which is why I'm saying first quarter of next year. Because the script is written.
Okay, Murli Gopi has
Yeah, he's written the
finished the
script.
script. Okay, so the first quarter you will be doing recce's and other things.
No. By first quarter, I want to go on floors with the shoot. So from now to that time, in between my shoots and my other commitments, I'll be making these short trips to recce and then of course once the script is logged, I'm constantly working. One part of my mind is working on it. So yeah.
What happens now? Malayalam cinema has been getting a lot of appreciation.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Because recently a lot of films which released after Janaganamana.
Yeah.
I'm speaking about small films.
Yes.
Not with the Prithvirajas or Mohanlals or Mammootties or anything like
Yeah.
that. I'm talking to you about very small budget movies, but
Yeah.
people are not coming to the theaters to watch them.
Yeah.
What is your reaction to that? Is it a spin-off of the OTT or what is the thing happening now in the industry? You must be knowing better.
It's a very good question. There's just one correction I'd like to make. I don't think it's got to do with the budget. Like to quote an example, my manager, Mr. Harris Desham, produced a film in Malayalam recently called Joe and Joe.
It's a nice movie.
Yeah, it did well. It did well. It made a profit purely from the theatricals. And plus, he got a very good deal from
The OTT.
and the satellite and everything. So it's a very small film. I mean, I know because
So what you are saying is Joe and Joe, people liked it.
no, there was something about Joe and Joe that made people think, okay, we want to go to the theater and see this film. You know, there was something about Janeman that made people think, let's go watch this film. So it is very important that if you're making a film where you truly know that this film can only be discovered and spoken about after it releases, then maybe you shouldn't go the theatrical way. You know, if you want your film to do well in theaters, these days I think it is very important that even before the release, you create a narrative amongst the audience that, okay, this is a film that I want to go to the theaters and watch. Now, all films may not be able to do that, you know, and it's not about the budget, frankly. It's about the content, it's about how you place your film, it's about how you style your film, it's about how you narrate the marketing to the audience of the film. But it is important because what happened, I think, over the pandemic is that the viewing behavior has changed. You know, people are okay now about watching films sitting at home. You know, they've gotten used to that. Watching cinema, you know, on mobile screens, on tablets, on their TV, they've gotten used to it. So if a film releases, which is a good film, but there isn't anything in it that makes you want to go to a theater, obviously people are going to wait the 4 weeks to watch it in some streaming service. You know, they're not going to take time off their daily schedule to go to the theater and watch the film. So it is important that you create that thing about your piece of cinema that tells people, no, I'm going to find 3 hours this weekend to go and watch this film.
Yeah, but then what do you feel about the OTT growth also?
Yeah.
The streaming platforms have really taken off and given a new lease of life to Malayalam cinema.
Yeah, see, the thing is, a lot of people think it is a pandemic-induced phenomenon. I disagree. This would have happened anyway.
You feel it would have
Absolutely. This would have happened anyway. You know, streaming services becoming big, especially in a high-volume market like India, is a most natural progression of the evolution of the business schematics of our industry. It would have happened anyway. Yes, I agree that the pandemic sort of accelerated our journey to that point. But some people looking at it as a pandemic-induced phenomenon that now they have to deal with suddenly is wrong. This we would have gotten here. Now, I know at present there is a lot of panic, you know, saying that is this going to ruin cinema, you know, is theater business going to be affected? This panic will, I think, sustain for a few months, maybe a year or two, and then a structure will settle in.
ഈ കോവിഡ് കാലത്ത് രോഗങ്ങൾ അകറ്റൂ, ആരോഗ്യം സംരക്ഷിക്കൂ. ടിയാറ SS വാട്ടർ ടാങ്ക്സ്, ലീവ് അപ് യുവർ ക്ലാസ്.